I'm going to start over again because I hadn't really pushed the record button. Hello, everybody. This is MoveEasy Yoga with Via, and it is October 12th, 2020. We're going to start in the ordinary fashion, lying supine on the floor, knees bent. Maybe you'll put a stack of washcloths under your head. You want to have a neutral cervical spine, and that will help. Just start to notice your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Just don't try to change it. It's the breath that you came in with that you're noticing. Notice the floor supporting your back. Saying to yourself, I love my body and my body loves me. Watching the breath. As it gets slower, deeper, there's no right or wrong answer. Just watching the breath, observing the breath, noticing any changes, if there are any. And then bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, or stack your hands if that's easier for you. And the hands are there just to keep the head from moving, because you're going to move your eyeballs without moving your head. If it's difficult for you to keep your arms behind you in this fashion, you can just leave them on the floor or on your belly, somewhere else. From here, without moving anything else, shift your eyeballs to the right and wait for a swallow, yawn, sigh, or gulp. Come back to center. Shift your eyeballs to the left and wait again for a swallow, sigh, yawn, or gulp. You may not experience any of these if you're just starting to do this practice, which is a vagus nerve reset movement. But keep practicing. This is an important reset, moving the vagus nerve from fight or flight to relax and restore. Come back to center. Repeat 2 more times, 2 more sets, right, left, without my cueing. Keep your hands in the same place. And we're going to move on to head ramping. So just press the occipital ridge, the base of the back of the skull, into your hands, into the mat, into the floor. Press. The skull moves up along the mat. And then just stay here for a couple of breaths and then release. And repeat head ramping 4 more times. Pressing, holding, releasing, repeating. Finish up. Bring your hands down by your hips. For breath work, we're going to do Viloma breathing. Your hands can be by your hips. They can be, one hand could be on your chest, the other on your belly. Or both hands could be on your belly. On your inhale in Viloma breathing, you're going to divide it into 3 parts. The first inhale, fill up 1/3 of the lungs. The second, fill up the second third, and the third, fill up the last third of the lungs. Pausing after each fragmented breath. So inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, and then exhale normally, regularly. Two more breaths. Finish up and stay here for a hypopressive. We're going to do a hypopressive bridge pose. So remember, your heels are on the floor, your toes are up toward the ceiling, dorsiflexing. And then we're going to do 3 breaths and then hold your breath out, no breath for 12 counts. During the no breath part, and Kathy's going to demonstrate it now, you're going to lift your hips and bring your arms overhead. And come on back, Kathy. And now we'll do the real deal. 3 breaths, 3 regular breaths. Don't move anything yet. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale all the way out. Hold your breath out, lift your hips, bring your arms overhead. I'm going to count to 12. 1, with your breath out, no breath. Stay as long as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Inhale, bring your hips down. Exhale, bring your arms down. We're going to do it one more time. So starting from the regular position with dorsiflexed ankles, feet. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. All the way out. Hold your breath out, no breath, lift your hips, bring your arms overhead, and stay here while I count to 12. 1, 2, no breath. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Go ahead and inhale, hips come down, exhale, arms come down. So hypopressives are good for pelvic floor work, core work. They also help reduce incontinence, bladder or fecal incontinence, either any kind of incontinence. And prostate, a lot of prolapsed organs can be, the prolapse of any organs, including prostate, can be reversed with that practice. Let's put a sponge ball under your head at the occipital ridge. This is a very simple neck release practice. So the first thing you're going to do is just, if you're gliding, so the chin goes down and the chin goes up, or the back of the skull goes up and down, but it's forward and backward, letting the sponge ball support you and provide you with some security so that you're not overdoing it. Back and forth you go. Let's do five more of these. I think Anna is here, or is on her way in. Let's see. Yes. So we're doing a sponge ball practice at the neck. Just do a couple more of those. Sliding, you're actually literally gliding the skull over the top of the cervical spine, C1 vertebra. And come back to neutral and then go side to side. So the right ear drops to the right. And slowly, side to side. The glory of doing this series on the sponge ball is it creates some safety for and structure for the movement. Some of the neck, a lot of our necks are injured, and we need to be really careful when we're moving them. Do one more, side to side, and then come back to neutral. Nose is pointing up to the ceiling. Make an infinity sign or a figure 8 with your nose, starting in one direction, and doing that for about 9 times in one direction. And then if it's time for you, go ahead and reverse the direction of your figure 8. Go ahead and look all the way to the right and do a nodding, chin up, chin down, just a small nod while you're looking to the right. And now a small side to side, but don't go all the way back to center. It's just a teeny side to side movement. Come all the way back to center, look all the way to the left. And a nod up and down, yes. Yes, I love my neck. And then a small side to side movement. And come on back to center. We're going to stay here. You're going to remove, we're going to go to a sideline position though. So we're going to start the sideline practice. I want to hear from Caitlin and see if her neck feels better. So check in with us, Caitlin, and tell us how your neck feels. And then everybody find a sideline position, just like Kathy, with a brick under or a stack of something. It could be a stack of towels under your head. You want to leave enough room for your bottom shoulder to stack directly below your top shoulder. Caitlin says it feels better.
Yeah,
So this is a practice. I'm sort of glad that Vito's here for this practice, because this is a practice that I encourage people to kind of memorize. It's sets of three, two shoulders. We're going to do 3 triplets, 2 sets of 3 for the shoulders, and then 1 set for the hips, with a little bit of bonus, so it's longer than 3 than you imagined. And then we're going to flip to the other side. But this is a practice you could do in your bed before you go, before you hardly got up, or in the middle of the night. Sometimes I actually do this in the middle of the night if I'm like restless in the middle of the night. And once you get the hang of it, you don't have to think very much about it, but it's a really nice practice for shoulders and hips, all round practice. I'm going to come on the floor and do it with you so that I get to have all the benefits that you have. So lie on the floor. The first move is shoulder protraction, scapula protraction, retraction. So the top arm is out in front of you, parallel to the floor, palm down. And then you're moving the scapula. Don't move the arm. The arm will move because the scapula moves. But you're going to move the scapula, your top scapula, away from the spine. The arm comes forward. That's called scapula protraction. And then you move it back. Scapula goes back towards the spine, and the arm moves back as well. Just do that about 6 times. Slowly thinking about what's happening on the inside. Let's say foundational, functional movement at the shoulder. We often lose it because we don't use it. Remember, this is a scapular movement. The arm. This is quite interesting. I have 1 pound weights on my wrist. This is. I think maybe I'll take them off for this series. I think that's a lot of work for the scapula to push a 1 pound weight plus my arm. Go ahead and finish up if you haven't already finished. The next movement is the arm just comes up toward the ceiling. And then it comes back down to parallel with the floor. And up and down you go. This is an arm bone movement. The head of the humerus is moving in the glenohumeral joint. There's maybe a little bit of scapular involvement. Remember, everything's stacked. Shoulders are stacked, hips stacked, knees stacked, ankles stacked. Think about what's happening at the glenohumeral joint. This is actually lateral abduction, adduction. Some people casually known as sunrise, sunset. One more. Bring your arm back up toward the ceiling. We're going to do an internal, external rotation at the arm bone. Go ahead and make a fist so that you can keep this out of the wrist. There's a little bit of poetry there, fist and wrist. So you're going to move the head of the arm bone forward, that's internal rotation, and backward, external rotation, and keep going and making sure that the movement happens at the glenohumeral joint at the head of the arm bone, not at the elbow and not at the hand or wrist. One of the reasons we get frozen shoulder is we forget to initiate this movement at the head of the arm bone, and instead we initiate some movement at the wrist or at the elbow without moving the shoulder. Go ahead and stop that and just bring your arm down by your hip, on your hip, and rest for a minute. Now we're going to do the next three. The first one is technical snow angel, half of one actually. So your snow angel, just keep your arm straight. Your arm is straight, Kathy. And then go ahead and externally rotate the arm so the palm is up toward the ceiling. And now bring your arm up by your ear. By the time you reach overhead, its palm is facing the floor. And then bring the palm to face forward, and then bring your arm back all the way down to your hip. And now externally rotate the ceiling. The palm is up to the ceiling. Arm goes up, up, up to the ear. If you can go that far, change the direction of the palm and come to forward and come back down. That is the movement. Slowly thinking about what's happening here. So the more aware you are of your movement and your breath, the easier it is for the brain to catch the movement and learn from it. Do one more of these. Bring your arm back down by your hip and make a shoulder circle so the arm comes behind you, up by your ear, out in front of you. And keep going. Slowly, this is one of my favorite movements. These shoulder movements might also help your neck, Caitlin. And everybody's neck, actually. So when we work on the shoulders, we release the neck. When we work on the neck, we also release shoulders. Because as your mother told you, everything's connected. Go ahead and reverse your direction of your shoulder circle. So the key here is not to lean the top shoulder back behind you to get more of a circle. So keep the shoulders stacked and just allow the arm to move however it moves. It might look a little different than Kathy's, who knows? Each of us is a modern anatomical miracle. Go ahead and finish up. Bring your arm by your hip. Bend your forearm, bend your elbow, tuck it into your waist. We're going to do something that's good for the rotator cuff, strengthening the back of the shoulder. Start with your palm down, bring your arm up, and as you come up, bring your palm to face your ear. This is called flying pizza, and then come on down, and up you go. So you're rotating your wrist and your forearm as you move your arm back up toward the ceiling. You should feel this. Make sure, adjust your shoulder stack. If you don't feel it, you should feel this in the back of the shoulders and the shoulder blades and the rotator cuff. The rotator cuff is the cuff of muscles that hold the shoulder blade in place and intact, stable. Last one. Now we've completed the shoulders on this side. We're going to start with the hips. Extend your top leg, and you can extend your bottom leg too, if you want, and just lift and lower. Droop your toes. That'll help focus on the outer thigh, which this is an abduction, a straight-legged abduction, adduction at the hip. So if you find that you're using the other leg, or you taking your buttocks behind you to get higher, you've gone too far. And just a couple more times. And come back to neutral, and then bring your leg forward and bend your dorsiflex your toes, and then backward and plantar flex. So footwork and hip work. Extension, when your leg goes back. Flexion, when your leg comes forward. And if you'd like to, when you come back into extension, you can tighten your glutes for a minute and then come forward. So it's up at the small pause with a glute squeeze. You don't have to droop your foot on this one. This is a flexion extension. movement. With a little bit of footwork. One more. Go ahead and bend your knees again. And bring your knees a little bit, stack knees a little bit forward. And we're going to do open, close, so clams. The heel or foot stays, feet stay together. You're just opening up. This is actually another, a bent knee, abduction, adduction. If you feel the hip flexor involved, that's the muscle in the front by the groin. If you feel that, you've gone too far. So today, my hip flexor is kicking in right away. I'm going to make my movement a lot smaller so that the working muscles are the muscles on the inside and outside of the thigh instead. And then go ahead and put your bring your knees a little closer to your face. Put your hand on the knees. We're going to add a resistance component, a Kihara resistance. Always moving and always resisting. So when the knee is going up, the hand is pushing down. When the hand is pushing down, the knee is pushing up. So up and back and forth you go. You'll probably notice this the most in the glutes, in your right side, in the upper glute, the involved glute. So a couple more times. And then go ahead and make your knees straight out in front of you and open the knee, open the bent knee, just the top one, and lift it. So you're no longer connecting them. Okay, lift. And now internally rotate the knee and then bring it back to directly above the bottom knee and then close. So like a book. Open. Now internally rotate. That's not like a book. Then here and close your book. Open, internally rotate, bring it back and down. One more time. Open, rotate, return, and return. Flip sides, everybody. We'll do this on the other side. I hope. So the first one is going to be you're lying on your, the first 6 are going to be shoulder movements. The first one is going to be scapula, protraction, retraction. The arm, top arm, comes forward in front of you because you brought the scapula away from the spine. So scapula, protraction. The arm comes forward because of the protraction of the scapula. And then the scapula retracts, comes towards the spine, and the arm comes back as well. So don't make this an arm movement. This is a scapula movement. Keep going. Try to take the scapula as far forward as you can and as far towards the spine as you can. A couple more. And now go ahead and bring the arm up to the ceiling. This is called sunrise, sunset, and then back. And again. This is lateral abduction, adduction of the humerus, the arm bone. Think of what's happening in the glenohumeral joint, the very shallow socket in the shoulder, which is why we have so many shoulder injuries. We'll do one more. Bring the arm up toward the ceiling again. I like to put my hand in front of the shoulder. We're internally and externally rotating the arm bone. So if you make a fist, that'll keep your this movement out of the wrist, which is one of the things you want to do. You want to make sure that a movement is happening at this bone. You can feel the head of the arm bone. Internally rotating, moving forward, and then externally rotating, moving backward as far as you can go. And just keep going for about 4 more times. Slowly with awareness of breath and awareness of movement. And finish up. Bring your arm down by your hips. You can rest, you can shake it if you want. Wiggle it. Now we're going to do angels, technical snow angels. The first thing you're going to do is rotate your, externally rotate your arm so the palm is facing the ceiling, and then bring your arm up towards your ear. By the time you get to it overhead, your palm is going to be facing the floor. Move the palm so it faces in front of you, and then bring your arm back. So there are 2 different degrees of external rotation, actually, just to juice up the shoulder joint. So remember to change the rotation a little bit at the top and at the bottom. And just finish up this one. Bring your arm down and start a shoulder circle. Bring your arm behind you, overhead by your ear, in front of you, back to your hips. Keep going. Make sure your arms, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your feet are stacked, ankles stacked. And reverse your circle. These are called shoulder circles or shoulder clocks. Go ahead and finish up. Bring your bent elbow into your waist. Palm faces the floor. Flying pizzas. Just bring your arm up, and as you do, rotate your palm so it's facing your ear. And then bring it down, palm faces the floor. So rotating the wrist and the forearm as you move. You should feel this in the back of the shoulder blade. If you don't, try to stack your shoulders better, and I think you'll feel it more. This helps prevent rotator cuff injuries, and if you have an injury, depending on how serious it is, this could help strengthen and restore, recover from the injury. I like to bring my arm all the way back so I can feel it specifically in the back of my shoulder. And finish up. Extend your leg. So we finished the shoulder series. Extend your top leg, straight legged, leg lift. Droop your toes and lift your leg. Up you go. The bottom knee is bent, or it could be straight. Toes are drooped. If you go so far that you start feeling your hip, your top hip going behind you, then that's too far. So just allow the movement to be dictated by how far you can go and still maintain your stacked hips and pelvis. One more. Bring your leg back to neutral. Flexion, extension. Bring the leg forward. Dorsiflex the feet, foot, and then back behind you, plantar flex. So the toes point towards your face when you're plantar flexing, you point away from your body on plantar flexion. You ought to be maybe feel the plantar arch if you've been doing short foot with me. So when you plantar flex, toes point, maybe you can feel the arch. And if you want to, when you come back, pause and squeeze your glute, and then return. And one more. And then go ahead and bend your knees and bring your knees towards your face. For the first two variations, stacking the heels, the other one, you're going to separate your heels. So starting out from just basic clams, just opening and closing, opening and closing. Keep the hips stacked, the pelvis stacked. This is great for the knees as well, because anytime you strengthen any of the muscles along the thigh, above the knee, you're helping the knee. Go ahead, bring your knees a little bit closer to your face, put your hand on the top of your, outside of your knee, and then make it a resistance, a Kihara resistance movement. When your knee is coming up, the hand is pressing down. When the hand is winning and coming down, the knee is pressing up. So always moving in Kihara and always resisting. Doesn't have to be a huge, you don't want to wear yourself out. It doesn't have to be huge. So it's more of a dance than a contest. You should feel it though in the glutes. Last one. Stop. Open your knees and keep your leg, your top leg parallel to the bottom. Now, when you come here, then you drop the knee so that you're internally rotating at the hip. Bring it back and then close your book. It's like a book. Open the book, internally rotate the hip, come back and close. Open. You can wear yourself out on this, so stop early if you need to. We're going to do one more. Open, internal rotation, return, and return. Yay! That's the whole side lying series. So I hope that you will learn it. I can send you the script, just ask me for it if you want. But this is a good one to memorize because it's a whole body workout that you can do. Once you memorize it, you can do it without thinking much, and you still get a lot of benefit. Come up to seated. Floor seated, your favorite floor seated position. If you're just starting to sit on the floor, which of course is one of my favorite positions for me and for you, starting to sit, just starting to sit on the floor, maybe veto, maybe this applies to veto. You may want to put a brick or a blanket underneath your hips. I want to check in with everybody. I'm thinking, this isn't on my script, but I'm thinking of doing those some cervical side bends. So unless you have any other thoughts, that's what we're going to do. So sitting in your favorite floor seated position, and hold on, I want to check and make sure that, you know, my volume has been way down. I don't know what you guys have been hearing or not hearing. Okay.
I could hear you fine.
Yeah. Okay. Probably. I mean, I have the speaker also. So, sit in your favorite position with a straight spine. So try not to round your back. Floor seated is great, but if you're seated in the floor and rounding your back, you're defeating the purpose. So there you are, and now from here, you're just going to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Stay seated tall. Your hips are on the floor, and you're just going to stay here and enjoy for a breath or two. And then go ahead and drop your chin towards your armpit. Find another stretch. And stay here and breathe and be aware of the stretch, the movement. Just stretching along another part of the neck. Bring your chin up, back. Now bring your head back. Left ear to left shoulder. Stay here. You can feel the stretch on the outside of the neck. You're just breathing and enjoying, hopefully. Keep your sits bones, both of them even on the floor, so that the side bend is in the neck, in the cervical spine, not in the thoracic spine. Drop your chin. Find another stretch on the outside of the neck. Experiment with the best location here. Bring your chin back up. Bring your head back up. Now we're going to add resistance to this. So you're going to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Take your right hand and put it on your left ear.
I think it's your left. Oh, no, you're right. Sorry.
All right, good. Oh, good, I'm right.
Yes.
That makes me feel better about yesterday when I was so wrong. Okay, here, here. So here you are. Now you're going to press your head into your hand. So you're going to get a totally different stretch here. This is a Kihara resistance movement that I love. Remember, you're sitting tall. You may be on a brick or blanket. And now release, but don't let your hand go, but just release the tension in your hand. And now drop again to your chin. You drop your chin to your armpit. Now add the resistance in the hand. So press again the side of the head into the hand while you've dropped your chin. And just stay here and breathe. Bring your chin back up. You release your hand and bring your head back up. Release your hand. Yeah. Other side, left ear, left shoulder, left hand on right ear. Press the head into the hand, or the ear into the hand, however you want to look at it. And enjoy this stretch, this resistance stretch. Now release the resistance for a second while you drop your chin forward. Now press your hand into your head into your hand. Find the stretch, the new stretch. And then release the tension. You can even bring your hand all the way away. Bring your chin up, and then your head up. Come up to standing. We're going to do, before we come down to Yoga Nidra, I want to do a back bend at the wall because we haven't done any back bends today. And I really like to include, there's so much. We should have this class be an hour and a half. But there's so much. Now I'm starting to think I should include a squat every time after the last class. Anyhow, stand up with your back against the wall in good posture. Remember, the idea is to keep your knees over your ankles, bring your arms overhead on the wall, hands on the wall, or fingertips on the wall, depending on what you can get there. And use this movement to open your chest. Push on your hands or your fingers, push your chest away. Be sure that you keep your hips and your ankles and your knees stacked. So there's not a bend at the bottom. The bend is above the belly button, above the waist. Stay here, breathe. Come on down. I think we're going to go ahead and sneak in no words. Sneak in a spine twist. So right shoulder to the wall, the right shoulder's to the wall, the right foot in front, left foot in back. Bend your elbows and rotate your thoracic spine, your upper back. towards the wall. So the hips are going to stay forward and you are going to rotate the upper back and the mid back towards the wall. And just stay here and breathe. I'm probably going to run about 5 minutes late because I did this, but I couldn't not do it. Once I had you up here, I couldn't, I was compelled to do it. Besides, Parvin said these are her favorite moves. This is her favorite move. Now go to the other side. So left shoulder, right foot forward, right leg. No, I'm sorry, left leg. Whoops. Right behind you. Bend your elbows, rotate your upper body towards the wall, and breathe. And I like these too. These are modified yoga triangles, basically. So if anyone asks you about yoga triangles, you can say, yes, we do a variation of triangle in my yoga class. Maybe someday we'll do more of the triangle. Come on back, everybody. Come down to the floor, unravel. Come down to the floor, find a very comfortable, warm position. You may want to put a towel over your eyes. Your legs can be extended or they can be knees bent. Your knees could be up on a chair or a couch. I'm going to take you through 61 parts. I mentioned 61 body parts. I would like you to pay attention to the parts I mentioned, but do not move them. Starting with your breath, breathing in and out, and observing the belly as it rises and falls with the gentle flow of your breath. Now bring your attention and awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, ankle, hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This concludes your 61-point guided yoga nidra meditation. Start to bring your attention back to the room. Extend your legs. Bring your arms overhead. See if you can stretch and create some more space between your rib cage and your pelvis, the top of your pelvis. And wiggle your fingers and your toes and rotate your wrists and your ankles. And then hug one knee into your chest and then the other. Hug both knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. This is an upside down child's pose. If child's pose is hard for you, this would be an option. Go ahead and roll to the side into a fetal position. Using your bottom arm as a pillow. Using your top hand, wrist pressed, palm pressed into the floor to bring yourself up to seated to your favorite floor seated position. Unmute yourself before you take your floor seated position. We'll stop the video, remove the spotlight, and I'm going to view gallery. I can't change the view for you guys. So where are we? Okay. Find, whoops, I haven't put my picture back up. Good. Bring your hands to your heart. Press into your palms. Press your palms into each other very strongly and see if you can find upper back work, upper middle back work, shoulder work. And then go ahead and release. Let your palms be soft. Prayer pose be soft. Lift the occipital ridge up towards the ceiling and then nod the skull over the cervical spine, the top vertebra, C1. Nodding, bowing deeper, bowing deeply to each other. Acknowledging and recognizing the light in each of us and knowing that we are all one light. We'll close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
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 Thank you, everybody.
That was very nice.
Thank you.